seems like this could be a breakout year for LSU on that side of the ball. LSU offensive coordinator was a part of the Coach's Caravan final stop last night in New Orleans. Coach Ensminger was, and kind enough to wake up with us here on this Tuesday morning and stop by. Coach E, thank you, man. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Man.
Coach, you're the director of this ship. Do you get that feeling, I guess, within the building that this year kind of feels like you guys offensively have that juice? There's something different about you. I don't know if it's the returning quarterback, the addition of somebody like Brady, but it seems like you guys are kind of ready to break out.
Well, I feel like it's we have a lot of young men coming back. I feel like it's the most mature offense I've been around in a long time, and I think because of all that, there's a sense of urgency, there's a sense of confidence, and everybody's ready to get out there and see what we can show.
Joe Burrow, it felt like he took over the reins of the team late last season. It kind of feels like his team going in. Where is your quarterback heading into his senior season mentally?
It is his team. It is his offense. It's great to have a young man like that who's just serious about football, trying to do everything he can to be the best player he can. He leads on the field. Right now we have some summer workouts going, player-only practices where they go out there and he runs the practice and they run plays and everything else. And then our twos go and our threes go, and he walks up there with our twos and threes and tells everyone who's doing wrong, whatever, let's do it again. So he's kind of taking over that leadership role. It's kind of refreshing. I'll be honest with you. To know that we can back off, we can let him take it over, we can go out there and practice without the coaches being out there, and we know things are going right. I'm looking forward to the senior season. We talked yesterday in New Orleans, and I was telling all of the reporters and everything else down there that everything runs through our offensive staff, but we put nothing in without going through Joe Burrow. Hey, we sit down, we draw this play up, we watch it on film, and I say, hey, what do you think? You like it? Can you do it? Hey, you feel comfortable with it? If he says yes, hey, let's go with it. So I'm excited about it.
And Coach, so returning the quarterback is obviously one key element for why expectations are going to be higher for this year's offense. But when you look at last year, it's interesting. Whether it was the interim or taking over last season, this offense has been kind of constantly shifting. If y'all have been creating it from the ground up. Last year, some strides were made in some areas. I think it probably fell short of the overall goals. Why should LSU fans believe that this year is going to be different? Because I know a lot of fans feel like they've heard this a lot over the past decade. This is going to be the year. This is going to be the year. Why is this year going to be that step forward?
Well, I just think it's like I said, I think it's a conference of players. I think it's the addition of Joe Brady. I think the direction that we need to go is get more speed on the field. We still have our 12 and 21 personnel in that we can run the football, we can play action. But you know what? We want to go faster. We want to use 11 personnel. We want to use 10 personnel. We have practice this spring that we're experimenting with 5 wides on the field. And so it's exciting for me in the fact that we're mature enough to be able to try all this stuff in the spring and kind of come back here and meet as the coaching staff, say, I like this, say, who are we, who's our best players. The whole key to it to me is who's our best players. Let's get them on the field. If it's 4 wides, fine. If it's 5 wides, fine. And then of course, you kind of game plan and see what fits best against the team that you're going. But I really feel like we have the athletes and the maturity that we can do a lot of stuff on offense, that we can keep defense and say, hey, they're not just 21 personnel. Heck, they're 5 wideouts this time. And so we're going to make them have to coach a little bit more than they have in the past.
Yeah, and it seems like it is almost a new attitude of being the aggressor, right, of keeping the defense on their back heel. One of the ways that do that, you mentioned the maturity and the trust that you have in Joe Burrow. Is it accurate to say when it comes to pass protection this year that it's almost like y'all are going to be relying on Burrow and his decision-making more to protect himself?
Yes, that's a fact. We talked about it last year. We struggled a little bit, obviously, in our pass protection at times. And so the quick answer is to, keep more people in. The quick answer is to chip your tight end out, chip your running back out, and everything else. So, then you're not spreading the field like you want to. So, hey, we kind of started in in our bowl practice to say, hey, look, let's get the back out. Hey, let's make them cover them all. And then this spring and everything else, we just say, hey, we're going to commit to, hey, as fast as we can, let's get 5 of them out. Let's see if they can cover them. And now, Joe, you have to do a great job of checking protections and everything else, and you got to do a great job of getting the ball out of your hands. And I think he did a great job of that, and I'm looking forward to watching it.
Former LSU quarterback, current LSU offensive coordinator, Steve Ensminger, joining us here off the bench. ESPN New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Alexandria. Joe Brady stopped by here a couple of weeks back. He talked about the working relationship that you guys share. There was a great video that came out last night of Brady asking you questions, and you can tell that your chemistry is there. What's the young guy bring to the offensive room?
No, he brings energy. Coach O talks about it all the time. Hey, let's have energy. He brings energy to the room. He comes in there and, he's been at some great places. He's been at Penn State. He's been at the Saints. He's been around great coaching. And I told him, hey, look, you came in here to put this passing game in. I'm open-minded to it, And so, but he walks in there and he throws it up on the board, and hey, I like it. We kind of go through the staff. We like it. Hey, we ask the quarterback, hey, what do you think? Can you do this and everything else? Hey, and we go with it. I thought spring was great because Joe brought a lot of ideas to us. Hey, we implemented it. We went out there and we practiced. Now our job is after spring. What we're doing right now is okay. We didn't like this. Now we're taking some stuff out. Now we're trying to just combine everything that we feel very good with and take out the stuff that we don't and go from there.
Seems like the healthiest competitions you have on that side of the ball is going to come on the offensive line this year. How do you feel about Coach Craig's group?
I like where we're at with that group. It's last year. I'm hoping right now that we're healthier than we have been, and that we don't have to move our left guard to right tackle every game. Or our right guard to left tackle. So I think we have more depth there. There's no doubt in my mind. I think there's no doubt in my mind they've gotten so much better through individual drills, and we saw it in the spring. But even including these freshmen that are coming in, we're hoping they can give us some backup time or be able to help us. But I feel very comfortable about where we're at there, our depth-wise and everything else, that we don't have to move people around. They're comfortable in their position. And if someone happens to get nicked or injured, we just put the next one in. We don't have to rotate everybody.
Coach, you mentioned in this new system, right, the 5 wide, changing protections, relying on Burr to make the calls. How much of that also goes on Lloyd Cushenberry's shoulders? Like, how integral is he to making this new offense work?
Well, it all begins with him. It really does. As soon as we go to the line of scrimmage, he makes the points. He directs the line, which way we're going and everything else. And then Joe has the option to change all of it, So Lloyd's the key. I said it more than once last year. I felt like going into the season, as the season progressed, that Lloyd Cushenberry was our MVP. He did everything for us. So I think he's going to have a great year, and I think he sets the tone of our offensive line. And I really believe this. The offensive line sets the tone of every practice and every game. The game is won up front, and it starts with Lloyd Cushenberry.
Coach, one thing that Brady was talking to, back to Brady, our conversation with him, he was gushing over the wide receivers, just over the talent you guys have on the roster. That group, you mentioned 5 wide. Who's some of the names to watch for going into fall?
Well, obviously Justin Jefferson ended up being our go-to guy last year, and he had a great spring. Our young guys, Jamar Chase had a great spring. Terrence Marshall, we've kind of moved them around. Joe's done a great job of, hey, you're not just an X, you're not just a Y, you're not an F, you're not a Z. Hey, you have to know the whole concept so we can line them up anywhere we want to. But after those 3, you're talking about Derek Dillon, who didn't go through spring but had a great year last year, and we're dependent on his speed and everything else. You talk about D. Anderson. You talk about, I know I'm believing one, Racy McMath, who's a big-time player for us, who can stretch the field vertically. So, we have options there. And the biggest key, we tell these guys, hey, knowledge is power. The more positions you can play, hey, the more we can move you around, the better we're going to be as an offense, and the more balls you're going to get. So, it kind of intrigues them because, they're up here all the time at the office trying to watch film and trying to study and trying to learn more so they can get on the field and play more.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things I was talking about at the Caravan yesterday, is just kind of not just switching on personnel, but then where that personnel is, so the defense is kind of constantly having to account for everything. Talking to LSU offensive coordinator Steve Ensminger, one of my former coaches, one of my favorite guys ever here on Off the Bench. And let's keep the position group train rolling. Running backs. some new faces in that room, some young faces with some veterans mixed in. Who's been shining in that room?
Well, obviously coming out of the season, Clyde has the most experience, and Clyde did a great job for us last year. I thought Lenore Fournette had a great spring. He really effective catching the ball out of the backfield. Of course, you saw Chris Curry during the spring. He's a big, tough, physical runner. I'm looking forward to seeing the two young guys. I'm looking forward to see John Emery and Ty. They bring something different to the table, So, we got to do a great job during this offseason. We've only had a chance to work with them individually and not see them as a team, everything else. But they bring something different to the table. And the biggest thing is I think each one of them is a little bit different runner. Some are powerful, some are explosive, some are great pass catchers. So we got to do a great job in our game planning and our substitution of getting the best guy on the field with the right play call.
Last one for you. Coach Steve Ensminger joining us here off the bench, New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Alexandria, ESPN Radio. Everybody we talk to, no matter if it's coaches, players, staffers, everybody mentions Myles Brennan's name. Where is he at in his development?
I think I said this yesterday, but I really believe this. If I had to pick a most improved offensive player for the spring, it was Myles Brennan.
Wow.
And Myles really had a great spring, threw the ball well. He really he's always worked out, but heck, he showed up here at 170 pounds, whatever. Right now he's at 207 pounds. He's taken heart to the weight room. He's taken heart. But the biggest thing that I really love what Myles has done is he has been in this office pretty much every day, watching film, wanting to learn this offense. He had a great spring, and I'm so proud of the young man. But even after spring's over, he has literally been up in this office every day watching film, serious about football, wanting to be as good as he can be, and you can see it on the field.
Next time we see you, you'll be on the sidelines, man. Thanks for the time this morning.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Thanks so much, Coach.
Coach Steve Ensminger checking in, LSU offensive coordinator, as the Caravan wrapped up